My name is Natalie Reider, and I am here today to talk about IoT, the Internet of Things. So here's what I have on the agenda for this presentation. I will start off by defining what the Internet of Things is in order to provide a clear understanding of the rest of the presentation. Next, we will discuss the history of IoT and how its origins influenced present-day technology. Also, I feel it is important to describe the benefits and disadvantages of these applications in society and how these implications are actually implemented in everyday life. And finally, I will provide a glimpse of how these technologies will impact the future and future plans for the IoT world, in addition to the recent debates about security tied to IoT. So I think it's very important to describe what the Internet of Things actually is, so everything in the rest of the presentation is clear. The Internet of Things is essentially a network of interrelated computing devices, a system of devices that have the ability to transfer data over a network without human involvement in the process. Basically speaking, this concept is the process of encoding any device with an on and off switch to the internet. To elaborate a little more fully, we need to understand some terms in order to get a clearer picture of what IoT is. So, to go over some terms, an IoT device is any standalone internet-connected device that can be monitored and or controlled from a remote location. The Internet of Things ecosystem, on the other hand, consists of all the components that allow users to connect their IoT devices. A physical layer is the actual hardware of an IoT device. This includes sensors and networking gear. The network layer is the platform responsible for transmitting the data received by the physical layer. Finally, remotes are the devices that allow the control of the IoT device using a dashboard. So now we're going to go over a little bit of the history of the Internet of Things. So IoT was first proposed by Kevin Ashton in 1999. Kevin Ashton was the co-founder of the Auto ID Center at MIT. Around the same time, Neil Gershenfeld also mentioned IoT concepts in his book, When Things Start to Think. This concept has evolved much over the years, but has actually been around since the 1970s. The first internet appliance being a Coke machine at Carnegie Mellon University in the 1980s, where programmers could check the status of the machine to see if a cold drink would be waiting for them before they went to pick one up. So pictured on the right is actually the original IoT Coke machine, where the actual device was connected to the computer and the programmers could check the status of that machine before they went down and got something to drink. A little bit more about the history of the Internet of Things. IoT has evolved from M to M, which is machine-to-machine communication, or the connection of machines through a network. The Internet of Things takes this concept to the next level in the sense that sensor networks of billions of devices connect not only machines, but people, systems, and other applications. IoT didn't actually make a strong impact on society until 2010, when the government of China decided to focus efforts on programming IoT in their 5-year plan. So once China kind of decided that they were going to be focusing and implementing IoT into their society, that's when the IoT as we know it kind of jump-started. So some of the benefits of the Internet of Things. IoT allows businesses to monitor their overall processes with greater ease, enhance employee productivity, improve the customer experience while also integrating and adapting current business models. The Internet of Things also saves time and money, not only for producers, but for consumers as well. Generating more revenue is also a fundamental aspect of this technology and one of the fundamental aspects of why these businesses have started to adapt IoT technology. Their investment they put into obtaining these devices will essentially pay off in the long run because they'll be saving so much time and money in the end. Um, Even though there are benefits of this technology, there are also disadvantages. So as with any technology, so the system is extremely complex, and in some cases not very user friendly. There's also greater risk of failure with the IoT. Currently, there is no international standard of compatibility for this type of equipment, so there could be miscommunications in manufacturing. With greater dependence on technology to run our world, unemployment rates also rise because there's less of a need for human workers when a machine can do the job. So, if this machine has the capability of doing the work a human would originally do, but they don't have to pay the machine for the time that they spent, businesses are going to implement the machine and the IoT to do it, opposed to a person. So I think it's really important to talk about some real life applications of the Internet of Things to kind of put into perspective how relevant it is in our everyday life. So today we see IoT implications everywhere, even the homes of consumers. Smart homes are houses that are equipped with IoT devices that help make everyday life easier. For example, smart thermostats allow people to control the temperature of their home from their phone or tablet, allowing people to control the atmosphere of their house even when they aren't there. Other examples include Philip Hue bulbs, where users can adjust the intensity of light from their phone and can also be programmed to change dimness at certain times of daylight. Um, Smart refrigerators are also a hot item for smart homes these days, with the ability to monitor what items are in the fridge and order more if they run out. So this is another reoccurring theme, in the sense that these homeowners are saving so much money because they can turn the heat down when they aren't there, or they can turn the lights down when they aren't there, and they aren't paying for that extra energy when they aren't in need of using it. So, Apple, let's talk about Apple. We all know this company is one of the leading industries in the technological field. As a result, they are also one of the top firms in the Internet of Things field. iPhones are the most common form of IoT, as they are the most common device used to control other IoT devices. They are the center of this network, essentially. So, as we talked about earlier with the thermostats and the smart houses, you're going to be controlling that IoT device from your phone, from your Apple Watch. Apple Watches similarly act in the same way as the smartphones. They are linked to your iPhone and can monitor health and daily activities, in addition to sending notifications instantly. Another real life implication is the application of the most recent developments of driverless smart cars. This is kind of the newest development in this industry because consumers aren't really engaged in it quite yet. We don't have smart cars driving on the roads quite yet. But they're being worked on currently by Tesla, BMW, Uber, Google, and are capable of taking their passengers to their destination on their own. The cars are equipped with tons of devices like sensors, gyroscopes, cloud architecture, and the internet. Some of you may be surprised to know this, but agriculture is actually one of the fastest growing fields in IoT. With our rapidly growing population comes the need for increased food supply. Governments are helping farmers with this by providing advanced techniques and research to aid food supply. For example, IoT helps farmers gather data on soil moisture and nutrients, controlling water usage, and determining the need for fertilizers. So, again, farmers are saving so much money because they know exactly what they need to produce the food that they are expected to produce. They're saving time, they're saving money, and it's all because of these devices that typically or previously weren't used. IoT offers many health benefits in the healthcare world as well, and has potential to grow immensely in upcoming years. This technology includes the ability to monitor patients more closely and use data to analyze treatment plans. In addition, hospitals often utilize IoT for inventory management of pharmaceuticals and medical instruments. Individuals are also being encouraged to start using wearables in order to create a personalized analysis of one's own health. So, a wearable would be, for example, an Apple Watch. So, Apple Watches monitor your heart rate, the steps you take, um, your physical activity every day, and kind of create a fitness plan for you. And so, healthcare providers are stressing the importance of that in recent years. So, that's kind of why we see a spike in the purchase and trend of Apple Watches. Internet of Things also has a very important role in the retail world. IoT is utilized in order to solve merchandise or to move merchandise efficiently, predict equipment failure, monitor inventory, and enhance the customer experience overall. By using these technologies, firms will not only save time and money while producing and outsourcing their products, but strengthen customer reliance and increase number of repeat customers. So if a person walks into a store and they are greeted with exactly the merchandise they're looking for in a timely manner, they're going to come back to that store. And that's why these retailers are starting to use IoT more prevalently because it's um, getting really good feedback from the consumers that are using the stores. IoT devices are also being created to help parents monitor their babies and keep them safe. There are currently onesies for babies connected to parents' smartphones that allow for them to oversee the baby's temperature, breathing, and activity. This is similar to other devices that help pet parents monitor their animals at home as well. There are cameras that connect to smartphones um, that are able to track behavior from afar to see, for instance, if potty training is actually working. So I'm going to talk about the future of IoT now. The Internet of Things has great potential to influence cities in years to come. These cities are called smart cities. Implementing the use of IoT devices in cities, such as connected sensors, lights, and meters, um, the collection of the collection and analysis of data will be much easier. The promoters of smart cities are working toward the improvement of infrastructure with the hope to reduce the use of energy while saving cities money. Ways cities plan on doing this include the use of IoT LED light bulbs and the implementation of smart grids, which increase resource conservation. IoT is also expected to be the sole operating system of businesses in the future. BI Intelligence of Business Insider's Premium Research has determined that IoT devices will greatly influence consumers, businesses, and manufacturers. BI predicts businesses will be the top adopter of IoT solutions by lowering operating costs, increasing productivity, and expanding to new markets or developing new product offerings. It is expected that nearly $6 trillion will be spent on IoT solutions over the next 5 years. With the Internet of Things comes a hot debate about security surrounding these devices, however. Businesses have been known to bring in insecure devices and then fail to update the software. They also are failing to provide security patches, which are crucial to preventing hackers. If hackers were able to get access to IoT devices, they would be able to see through cameras and surveillance, and secret operations would be completely open to the public. With all this data compiled in devices also comes the risk of data breaches, in which personal information, government information, etc., could be shared with an unintended audience. So, smartphones in particular are at great risk of hacking. So, making sure passwords and only downloading apps from reliant sources in order to prevent an invasion of privacy is very important. I know we've all had that instance where we've lost our phone and our credit cards are on there, our bank statements, our contacts, our GPS locations, and if someone were to infiltrate that information, it could be devastating. Um, Also, as mentioned earlier, many healthcare and automobile companies use IoT devices. However, if a product were to malfunction, it could possibly pose a life or death situation for users. For example, if you were driving a smart car or the IoT was driving a smart car and the device malfunctioned, there could be posing risk for the driver or the passenger of that car, or passengers of other cars, possibly causing crashes, or if healthcare IoT systems failed, maybe the monitoring system was down, doctors wouldn't know how to treat a patient. Finally, trolls, bad players, and hackers are always presenting a risk in the IoT world, for they have the potential to steal extremely important information. In conclusion, by discussing the definition of the Internet of Things, the history, the advantages and disadvantages, everyday implications, and security concerns, it is very evident that IoT has a major impact on the world we live in today and will continue to hold a presence in the lives of people around the world for years to come. Thank you.